this mass suicide adhere to the Mayan calendar, which predicts the end of time to occur on the 21st of December of this year.
We built a system that would automatically transfer dailies and plates in full resolution to our system, rename it based on the visual effects naming conventions, and then send it out to other vendors and so on. And so everything came through us through a hub. We would see everything. Roland as a director was there, and we would approve everything there. And then the level of interaction was really dependent on where the houses were located. For instance, with Sony ImageWorks and Digital Domain and Hydraulics and so on, since they were all local, we had a very close relationship, and we would go over and visit them sometimes 2-3 days a week.
Scanline, Pixelmondo, and we actually had the guys come over and sit in our screening room. We looked at stuff together. Sometimes it was almost like spur of a moment where we said, you know what? I mean, we have like 7 things to look at. Why don't we just call them up and they'll be here in 15 minutes? So,
it's the apocalypse. End of days, the judgment day, the end of the world, my friend.
There's a lot. I mean, that's usually we quote two different sequences. I think. I mean, one was the water masses rushing through the Himalayan mountains, because you have enormous scale in water, and Scanline handled that, and it was the belief that because of their proprietary system, they were probably the only ones who could pull that off in such a short time with such a fast turnaround.
Yeah, where from the get-go, you know that once you start discussing, there's like worldwide 2 or 3 companies that could handle something like that.
And then the second one was the LA earthquake, which is really split into 2 parts. One was an in-house sequence where we drive with a limousine through the earthquake as everything is breaking apart and moving and falling. And then the second part, done by Digital Domain, where we take the Cessna plane and flying through a chasm that opens up and then eventually through downtown as it's crumbling. And those 2 were for sure the most challenging sequences in the movie.
California is going down!
God, you sound like a crazy person. The governor just said we're fine now.
The guy's an actor, he's reading a script!
The earthquake sequence was so challenging because in the screenplay it was about this much.
Yeah.
It's literally
3 lines.
They're running out of the house, they get into the limousine while everything's crumbling around them. They are going towards the freeway, take the freeway, and then the freeway crumbles, and then it's pretty much exterior Santa Monica Airport. They arrive, which became 114 shots in
3 minutes.
A 3-minute sequence in the movie. So it was very organic. We worked with Roland. I mean, not really while we were making the CG shots, but very early before we started, while we were doing pre-visualization on it. And this became a previs sequence that was so minute in detail that if you play it side by side with the actual film now, it's 95% the same. Yeah. So you also have a director who doesn't come to set and reinvents the whole thing. Once he did the previs for several months, he actually shoots the previs, and that, of course, is a dream come true for us.
You gotta get to the Santa Monica Airport.
We'll take the freeway. It'll be half the time.
We love miniatures, and it's a lot of fun to stand on the set and then do the 3, 2, 1, bang, and the stuff really explodes. It's so much fun, more fun than looking at a computer and waiting for 5 hours to have a sim done, and then it goes like this. But the fact is, though, as much fun as that is, there's 2 different problems with it. The one is physical limitations, where obviously in a movie like this, we're literally driving, for instance, with a limo through this earthquake, or flying with a plane through it. Just physical limitations in terms of camera rigs, and trying to make that house, building, tree, whatever it is, break and fall at exactly this correct timing. And have the camera drive through it, so to say. There's certain limitations to motion control rigs or whatever that simply don't allow us to get the shot the way we wanted. And then also, once you get that shot, you're stuck with exactly that. If the director comes after and says, I don't like the way the tree falls, well, sorry, that's how it is. With CG, you can totally change that. And the second thing is budgetary limitations. And that sounds weird on a big movie like this, but if you have a scene where literally the entire Los Angeles, and obviously, part of it would still always be a matte painting or whatever, but even the stuff that's close is an entire residential neighborhood, an entire commercial street like Wilshire Boulevard and so on, and then the entire downtown of Los Angeles. If you had to build all this as miniature and make it crumble and shoot it, it would become outrageously expensive and absolutely not possible to do.
Just for the one shot, was always my favorite example, is the limos driving away from us in a residential neighborhood. It's also in the trailer. It's a very quick cut in the trailer though. And it's so much stuff going on at the same time, just the logistics of all of that, to look for a mile into the distance and see things shaking and crumbling and so on. I mean, just to rig that, even if you would want to shoot that as a miniature, you would have to do it in like so many parts to later composite it together, because the triggering of, let's say, like 500 events that all have to work 100%.
Pretty much impossible logistically, yeah.